might be the lord of the kaiju rising. Throw it right back when I fight you, lightning. Breaking all the plans when I'm fusing with the lads. Yeah, mega kaiju breaking right through. It's frightening. North Japan, I'm the bomb. How these kiddies crying to their moms. Alien, heading straight to Fuji when I roll up. Scary and eating every human fruit roll up. Only 4 from the 3, you ain't messing with.
Hello, welcome to Kaiju Theater. Today we are starting on the Gamera trilogy. This is, from what I believe, it is the start of the Heisei era for the Gamera films. And we are starting off with Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. An hour and just over 30 minutes long. It gets a 6.7 on IMDb. Came out in 1995. Let's take a look at this set so you guys have an idea what the set looks like. Now this is the one that I had to go and do a little bit of transformation on because the guy sent me one disc on eBay, so I had to go and make some changes. But what we have here is we have a small town that has been riddled with destruction because of an unknown element. And the destruction happens on this small island. And meanwhile, a girl, Ioke Funijami, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, she is given a amulet. And of course that's her real name because she is also, which I found out from, shout out to Interweb Kaiju, the greatest kaiju reviewer on the tube, the best, told me that that is Steven Seagal's daughter, which I did not know that. Very cool. She's given an amulet that was found on a small island that has a connection to a turtle. So these people are trying to figure out what's happening on the island, why a small village was destroyed. They believe it's because of a new species of bird. So they get an ornithologist, which is a, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, ornithologist. It is a person that studies birds and bird behaviors, and is a lady. So she comes to seek out the damage and see what's happening. And of course, she says this can't be because of a bird. This is all done because of humans, which is crazy because if you look at the damage, you know, you'd have to be a really pissed off human being, or you'd have to be like Hawk to do the damage that was done. So the people are like, well, here, let's show you this. And they show her a stool specimen, a giant glob of crap that looks like bird crap. And she investigates it, and it's huge. It's like Chet when he gets turned into the poo in Weird Science. It's like that type of poo, right? So anyhow, she realizes that it's definitely not human. So they go to investigate, and then people start getting attacked by these giant birds. And it's grouse. Bird species that are like grouse. Grouse, an old foe of our good friend Gamera. And now the military has to get involved, but in the meantime, Gamera has been unlocked. Not from a volcano, not from the ocean, but beneath the rubble and rocks. So Gamera shows up now, and Gamera has to stop Gauss while the military tries to stop these other species, or these other birds of the species. And basically it's just a giant war. And meanwhile the girl has this telepathic link to Gamera, so when she feels his pain when he's hurt, and when she gets cut, or he gets cut, she gets cut. So it's kind of interesting, because he is the protector of children. Now, you don't hear anybody go, Gamera! In this one. But you definitely see the link between the two. Now, let me give you my thoughts on the film overall. This movie is definitely by far the best one that I've seen. I really liked it. It came out shortly after Jurassic Park. And man, that would have been a great double feature to see at the theater, because there was non-stop action, hardly any type of CGI, maybe minimal. Gamera looked badass, you know, with the saber tooths. And then, man, Gauss was the carnivoristic Gauss, with eating people, eating each other, just destruction, just very, very dark version of Gauss. And I thought that was awesome. And I liked all the action in the film. The fights were great. Wasn't a ton of blood, but there was definitely some scenes where there was definitely some punishment done. The acting was fantastic in this movie. The scenes where they're going across the bridge and they have to escape Gauss was just fantastic. Just the overall acting was really well done. The scenes were well shot. Explosions, the aesthetic, all done well. I don't know the budget on the film, but this movie, it's also ranked one of the top 10 films of that time in Japan, and one of the top 100 films of all time in Japan. And I definitely recommend this one. There was a funny scene where there was a kid that was at this candy store, and his mom didn't want him to get candy, but he started going nuts in the candy store. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but he started like grabbing at the candy, like making all these funny ass noises. And I don't know, man. This movie just did it for me. It had everything with it. The telepathic link between the girl and Gamera. Her father was very, attentive to her, but also not attentive to her at the same time. There was an understudy that was trying to learn in the military. You get to learn a bit of history from him. Of course, you have the military not being effective at all, which is what they do. Of course, you always have the standard, let's blame Gamera for all the damage. Gamera is the one that's doing all this. He's probably the one that's doing more destruction than Gauss. Let's go after him. So they start shooting at Gamera. A little bit of backstory on Gauss. How Gauss is actually a female in this film. And how Gauss can reproduce at a mass quantity. And just so much good stuff that came with this movie. By far the best I've seen in the films thus far. I want to thank Interweb Kaiju and Mr. Bones for letting me know about this trilogy. And I was really impressed with this one. Let me know your thoughts on this as we get into the other two films in the trilogy in the Heisei era. And I'll catch up with you later. This is Hobbs Horror. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Welcome to the house on the A6 block. I'm just chilling on the porch in my chair I rock. I'm your host Jimmy Biggs with the ghoulish crick. The only light outside is the full moon grid. Welcome to a world mixed with evil and good. If you ain't plan on staying, then you misunderstood. This ain't a nightmare, the figment of imagination. Step aside and the house will awaken.